Today we're going to look at Google Keep. It's kind of like online post-it notes with some very powerful organizational tools, and we have highlighted this one in the past, but it has some brand new features that make it worth showing off again. So to find Keep, you can either go to Google, click the app icon and find it down below, or you can just type keep.google.com in your Omnibar and get there as well. It's also a free download on smart devices, and then the great thing is that it's going to sync all of your data across those devices so you can always get to your to-do list. Something else you're going to want to do is, if you put a lot of work in your to-do list but it's living in the virtual world and you never see it, that's probably not going to help a lot. So if you go to your tab and right click, you can pin the whole tab. What that does is it got rid of the X. I can't accidentally delete out of this tab. It keeps all of my pinned tabs to the left so they're easy to find, and it made a smaller icon so I can actually squeeze in more tabs. So now I'm at Google Keep, and here's where I create a new note. So it can be just plain text, they can be interactive text boxes, you can upload images, or drawing is brand new. So we'll look at that in just a moment. So I have my list for Google Keep, what we should talk about. So pin to tab, we've done that. I'm going to check box. And it fell down to the bottom, and I can move on to the next one, creating notes and new draw. So let's look at that. If I click on draw, let's work from right to left. I can download or delete my drawing. We can make this full screen, undo and redo. And then you have three different types of markers. The first one is a highlighter, and there's all these different colors you can choose from and different brush sizes. So you can see if it overlaps, it's darker. There's a marker option, and then there's just a regular pen. So this would be a great way to take notes that you can't really do with text. Maybe you're in a math class or a science class, or you just have an image that you want to capture. And the nice thing about that, in addition to the image, you can still add text to the bottom. Still working from right to left, we have an eraser where we can erase the whole screen or just one image. And then select. So if I wanted to take this image and move it somewhere else on the page, I can do that as well. And here now I can continue to add notes, and then we'll look across the bottom here. So reminders, if I want to have it remind me maybe tomorrow morning to do something, I can do that. Or it can also be location based, so remind me when I get home to throw something in my bag for work the next day. You can also make these, let's go back, collaborative, so I can work with somebody and we can together work on this one note. They don't have access to all of your notes, it's just that specific one. I can continue to add more pictures, I can archive it, and you'll see that there are some different options here. So I can always take a note into checkboxes down the road if I want to. So we'll say done. And we looked at the different kinds of notes that you could create. So organization, you'll see there's a color palette down below. You can change the color of your post-it note if you have some sort of organization there. You can also add a label. So for example, let's see. So I have one that I clicked, I was just playing with the drawing, and I added a science label to it. So, or if I just want to see all my home labels, so I have some measurements of something I need to pick up, you can organize your things there. I tend not to use that as much, but it's absolutely an option. And pin, so there's the little pin. These are all pin tabs, so they show up at the top of my page all the time. My unpinned ones fall down below. I can move things around on the page and get them in an order that works for me. And if I don't want to look at all of them kind of in this grid, I can look at the list view. And so that's also an option. So let's see, we've talked about color, label, moving them, viewing them, and pins. So now let's look at some other options. So OCR is optical character recognition. And what that does is I found an old article that my grandpa wrote, and he used to be a sports writer. And I just had this picture of the text, but I wanted the text itself. So once I added the image, I can grab the text. And what that did is it put it down below. And now I can manipulate that text in different ways. I could even copy it over to a Google Doc. So I'm going to click done. If we look at our to-do list here, we looked at some different options. And now this is another new portion of Google Keep. So this feature is about a week old. I can go to Tools, and click on Keep Notepad, and it brings your Google Keep alongside a Google document. And there's a few ways you could use this. So one would be if you have a document that's maybe the agenda notes for a meeting and you want to add to your to-do list, it's right there. Another way would be maybe students are doing a research paper and they're keeping their notes in Google Keep. And now they can bring in those quotes and that evidence directly into their document. So for example, that newspaper article, I can click on the three dots, add to document, and then it's going to bring in the image as well as all the text. This would also be a great way for math and science students especially to make their drawings in Google Keep and bring their drawings into their notes, but then they can still type notes from their class. The other way you could use this, part of that new feature, is I can go to a new note, and what it does is it links the document. So I'm going to go ahead and label this document Coach Article. Now when I take a new note, it says Coach Article, and I'm going to call this Quotes. And there were some really interesting quotes from this article. Actually, it's my grandpa writing about his own speech, but we'll go ahead and find, here's one of the quotes I really like. So I'm going to take that, paste it into my note here, and click Done. And so now when I go to the Google Keep side, I have this quote. So I have the quote and then a link to the entire article. So in addition to bringing your Google Keep notes into your document, if you create the note in the document, it links to the whole document itself. And then the other new piece with Google Keep was that ability to draw. Thanks.